Shot in the back 4 times, just before midnight Moscow time. Boris Nemtsov was walking with a woman on a bridge close to the Kremlin. A witness says a car stopped and several people shot him. Nemtsov, 55, was a prominent opposition leader. In politics more than 20 years, rising to deputy premier in Boris Yeltsin's government and considered a possible successor. More recently, Nemtsov had founded the People's Freedom Party and was mounting a large opposition rally this Sunday in Moscow. Tonight, President Putin condemned the killing, but many will believe this was the work of assassins close to the government. Nemtsov was a sharp thorn in Putin's side, telling CBC in 2013 corruption in the Olympics was rife.
The Sochi Olympic Games is the biggest fraud in Putin time. The biggest. Putin, clown, etc., charismatic, I agree.
His fight with President Putin covered a decade, traveling abroad, including to Canada, to voice opposition. In 2011, shut out of running in the elections, he said Putin stole them.
Putin stole about 13 million votes.
Just a week ago, at a rally supporting the Kremlin, a picture of Nemtsov was held high, saying he helped organize Ukraine's uprising. Nemtsov himself told a Russian journalist he feared Putin would kill him because he opposed the war in Ukraine. In one of his last interviews, he said, 3 years ago, we were in opposition, now we're just dissidents. We have to rebuild.
Before we get started, please check out our sponsor, Lear Capital. That's Lear Capital, the precious metals leader. Buy gold, buy silver, do it today. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It's March 2nd, 2015, and welcome to the revolution. Allegedly, a Putin critic was shot dead on a bridge. He was gunned down by Putin, allegedly, according to the mainstream bullshit media that, by the way, has been trying to oust Putin over the past several years. Has even gone to the lengths of moving in cahoots with Saudi Arabia. For his own opposition. Again, the same thing happened with Bashar al-Assad in Syria when they tried to position the Ghouta chemical attack, but failed. It came out later from the United Nations, Carla Del Ponte, saying and accusing that it was actually the rebels armed and backed by the West on the ground, not the Bashar al-Assad government. Just like Bashar al-Assad wouldn't wish his own demise, nor would Putin. And allegedly, an opposition leader was killed by Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, which we know is total and utter bullshit. Again, there's no motive to do it. The mainstream media says it's because Putin wants to instill fear in his people. Well, I've got a newsflash for you. He doesn't need to instill fear in his people. His people actually, I think, are fearful of him and already do respect his leadership. In fact, he has overwhelming support in Russia, not just from the oligarchs that he represents, kind of like here in the United States of America, but also his people that, by the way, hate the United States of America. So, again, get your detectors out, your bullshit meters, total and utter bullshit. In fact, this hurts Putin. It's exactly why the West has positioned this. For example, let me give you an example, specific one. The President of the United States, Barack Obama, here in the good old USSA, has been openly assassinating and murdering Iranian nuclear scientists for some time now. It happened recently. A lot of these people just go missing or they wind up dead because the United States goes and kills them. While at the same time, the President of the United States is negotiating with Iran so that they can get a nuke, so that they can get a bomb within 10 years. As long as they're good. Yeah, that's right. As long as they're good, Obama's going to give them a nuke. While at the same time, he's openly murdering their scientists. Again, all of these just plain, utter facts. Kind of like Frank Underwood. You know, they released what's the show on Netflix? House of Cards. Over the weekend here, last Friday. He asked a question before drone striking. Are there any kids in that vehicle? And his defense minister says, yes, they are. Okay, pull the trigger. And he just whacks all of them, murders all of them. It's a total double standard how we try to paint Putin into a corner here. The Western bullshit media is some kind of Satan devil worshiper, while at the same time the president here in the United States is openly murdering scientists in Iran. Drone striking children, bombing schools as a result of these drone strikes in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, and newly found Syria. So again, total bullshit. This would only hurt Putin. There's no motive for Putin to kill openly an opposition leader, to gun him down in broad daylight while he's walking with his model girlfriend on a bridge, because it only builds support for the opposition, and Putin is smarter than that. And again, the people already respect and fear him, so there would be no reason to do this. Also in the news, we have King Bibi of Israel, Prime Minister of Israel, who hates Obama. I mean, everyone hates this guy. Everyone. World leaders hate this guy. He's on his way. Bibi's on his way to speak to Congress on Tuesday to address not just Congress, something Obama blatantly continues to ignore with his wars and executive actions on things like immigration, etc., but to address the nation and the world on the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran, while at the same time, the president, questionably, negotiates with them. Isn't it interesting? A lot of it is a facade. I mean, King Bibi, he's been warning that Iran's going to have a nuke for how long now? I mean, a long, long time. And they never seem to get one. But isn't it interesting that the president, just how bad they actually hate each other? King Bibi and Obama, really the worst of enemies. And it goes to show you, and I think it sets a precedent for deteriorating relations in the Middle East, something that Obama's been very good at. Again, so you can smell the shit on your fingers. Again, Putin had no self-interest to whack this opposition leader in broad daylight. It only emboldens his opposition. It's just an attempt by the U.S. and the West and her allies to overthrow, again, another rightfully, democratically elected leader. And allegedly, this is why the story's also bullshit with this alleged Putin critic being shot dead, is that allegedly he was going to release information to the world about Putin's involvement in Ukraine. Well, none of that is a secret. The only reason Putin got involved in Ukraine, retaliated, was due to Western aggression, due to the fact that the United States led a very violent, deadly coup, arming radical factions like neo-Nazis. Again, that's a fact, to overthrow a rightfully democratically elected leader who just happened to be friends and allies with Putin. I mean, could you imagine if Putin came, again, to the United States, armed Occupy Wall Street, or overthrew Hawaii, for his own benefit? Do you think the U.S. would respond? You think Obama might send, or move some of our existing warships down there in Pearl Harbor to protect our territory? Well, it's exactly what Putin has done. Again, Obama, a warmongering fool and a warmongering president, representing the corporate interests as they blast and propagandize us with ISIS, the new boogeyman, on a daily basis to justify his baseless, erroneous, costly wars. Again, new wars, not just in Iraq and Afghanistan, but also Syria now, and boiling over into a regional world conflict. This is what King Bibi is warning about, and is why he's speaking on Tuesday. Pay attention to his words, his phrasing. He's got an election coming up as well, so I'm sure he's, pushing for that. But I'd pay close attention to what Bibi says, because I think although there's going to be tremendous propaganda layered in it, there's also a tremendous amount of truth. I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.